Welcome to the Nevis Newscast. Today is Wednesday, 24th May 2017. I'm Fredicia Liebert. Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Vance Amory, has the unique portfolio responsibility of labour both at the federal level and the Nevis Island administration. He noted that the Department of Labour is one of those portfolios that affect almost every sector of the economy, and that he, along with members of staff at the two departments, work to ensure that labour issues are resolved. To this end, he notes that both employers and employees have responsibilities.
And what we are saying to the employers is provide an environment in which your employees can work and the conditions are suitable for them to work. One, pay them a fair wage. Make sure that the environment in which they work is healthy. If there is tension, we try to go in early to resolve any tension, any conflict. We are also working in conjunction with the tripartite committee to establish training. And this training is important not just for the workers in the Department of Labour, but for any department which requires training, whether it's in the private sector or the government sector, the public sector, because we feel that people need to understand their role and their responsibility as employees, but also the employers need to understand their role and their responsibility as employers.
The Premier noted that while everything is not rosy at this time, significant progress has been made and the labour conditions may soon be at a happy medium.
We have a meeting of the tripartite committee to advance a discussion on the new labour code, which has been languishing for some time, but I believe we should be able to have that settled, I think, by July. So before the end of this year, we should have a new labour code, if not passed by Parliament, at least in Parliament for its first reading, so that we can have people sitting and discussing it to make sure that the law, the labour code, meets the requirements of a growing St. Kitts and Nevis, to make sure that employers understand their responsibility and that employees understand their role and their responsibility as well.
Premier Amory noted that there are some outstanding issues as it relates to severance pay, but is confident that these matters will be resolved shortly. Former Minister of Agriculture Livingston Herbert urged the members of the New River Farmers Cooperative to utilize the characteristics that New River offers and to establish greater linkages with other sectors of the economy of Nevis. Herbert, in delivering the feature address at the New River Farmers Cooperative's Open Day held last Friday, May 19th, told the farmers that one way in which they could link agriculture with tourism, health, culture and entertainment is to introduce farm tours.
That if we can set up our farms in such a way to encourage visitors to come, pay money, and see what we have, and in return they learn something, they get a good experience, they would become great ambassadors for Nevis and for the New River Cooperative Society.
Herbert added that on said farm tours there should be a degree of specialization.
Some farmers may focus on herbal planting, whether for tea or seasoning, some on fruit production. Whatever the aspect, it would add to the experience of the visitor to the farm. Can you imagine what it would be like to have a tour of the sugar mill, and the tour is ended and you are able to purchase a glass of cane juice or a joint of cane Trust me, it is an 18th century experience in the 21st century. People will pay for that.
The theme for the open day was keeping the agricultural flame alive in New River. Earlier today, 3 pilot whales washed ashore at Indian Castle. Former Director of Fisheries Lemuel Pemberton spoke about the reason why they might have washed ashore.
One of the whales might have been ill and gotten disoriented and therefore would have run aground. And being a family group, what could have happened is that the other members of the family would have followed it because it's ill. You know, they wouldn't abandon the one of the group that is sick. Unlike, let's say, what would happen in the case of if it was fish or shark or something like that. They have like a close-knit family unit, and one being ill, they follow it into shore. And when the other one got stranded, they also would have come in to try to help it and would have gotten stranded.
Pemberton said that him and a few other guys tried to save one of the whales that was still alive.
That third one was probably exhausted. We tried really hard to get it back into the water. Twice we tried. It went back out into the sea, was swimming around, but probably was so tired, was beaten up maybe on the rocks, and maybe had also, part of the area is sandy as well, may have gotten some sand somewhere into its lungs or something like that, and that might have caused a bit of problem. As they are air breathers, they are not really, they don't really get the oxygen from the water like fish do. They have to come up and breathe. So if some sand got into the blowhole somewhere into his lungs, it would have caused a bit of a problem. However, it seemed to have been exhausted to the point that he was unable, or disoriented to the point that he was unable to make its way back out into the ocean, even though it was refloated and was already in fairly deep water. Just turned around and came back in twice on 2 occasions.
He also made an appeal to fishermen on the island.
The sharks could smell blood and anything that is dead from a long distance away. So they will probably tend to congregate in the area. So I would say to any spear fishermen in particular, because those are the ones that you really have to be cautious about, or even those fishermen who fish from shore and who sometimes go out into the water at a good distance and show their lines that they should be careful in that area. So avoid the Brandy Point area for now, because the carcasses are going to rot, and for the next probably month or 2 it might be a good thing to avoid the area and go somewhere else until the carcasses have totally decomposed and you only have bones in the area.
The whales were discovered around 7 a.m. this morning. Still to come, Renal Society to host annual walkathon on Saturday. The details when we return.
As a responsible taxpayer, you help to finance free healthcare at all health centers on Nevis. Thank you for putting country above self. This message was brought to you by the Inland Revenue Department, Nevis. Be a responsible citizen.
Welcome back.
Let me start by congratulating the groundsmen. I think they have done a great job in terms of bringing the grounds to this level. It looks like a botanical gardens, well kept, well manicured, and I want to give them the highest commendation for their hard work. From the pond area to the shrubs and the trees and the hedges, I think they've done an outstanding job and they must be very, very highly commended. I also want to thank my staff at the office, and they have put the logistics in place to make this event the success that it has been.
Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, John Hanley, commending the staff at the Ministry of Tourism, specifically the staff at the Nevision Heritage Village. Hanley was speaking at the recently held Open Day at the Nevision Heritage Village in Fothergills. The activity was held as part of the activities for Exposition Nevis. Hanley then spoke about the purpose of the Nevision Heritage Village.
This site is largely based on the concept of sustainable tourism, where we seek to preserve our cultural heritage in order to showcase it for future generations. So young persons who have never seen a typewriter, they have never seen a bath pan, they have never seen a washing board or a dresser, they're able to come here and see these things and get the explanations and be, as it were, transported back in time so that they can appreciate what was, so that they can have a better appreciation of the current lives that they live.
Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, John Hanley. The Nevis Renal Society is hosting its annual walkathon on Saturday, 27th May. Public Relations Officer Florine Williams outlined the route for Saturday's event.
Starting 6 o'clock from the 6 a.m. from the Artistan Village, turn left to Pinny's Beach Hotel area. Then we're going to go to the bypass road by occasions, and then straight to Delta Petroleum by the roundabout, then to Long Point, and back from Long Point onto the main road, then along Hawkins Drive and back to the Artistan Village. That's where we're going to have a very good breakfast.
Williams stated that the fee for the walkathon is $40, which includes a T-shirt with the Renal Society logo and breakfast. She then outlined how persons can register for the walk.
We have a registration form and we have tickets still selling, and you can contact myself, which number is 669-3477, or Paulette Hanley, which is 665-1856, and Sherilyn Pemberton, which is 669-4185, or any members of the Renal Society.
Williams also thanked the Bank of Nevis for sponsoring this year's walkathon. The walk begins at the Old Hospital Road at 6 a.m. Proceeds of the walk will go towards defraying the cost of dialysis for persons suffering from kidney failure. That's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I'm Fredicia Library. Thank you for viewing.